Welcome, everybody. Welcome to BeoTalk 273.
The one that almost wasn't, for God's sakes.
Yeah, how are your fire alarms doing?
Oh my God. Okay, so here's the recap. Do your shilling first, then we'll get into the gravy afterwards. Call this.
Oh, I tapped the wrong button. Get.
Am I muted? No, good. Nobody's
No,
complaining,
I
so
don't
we're
think
good.
so. I'm just putting links in chat now.
It's our 273rd. I think we got it figured out by now.
Sort of. Go buy
Oh,
some
for the
cool
love
shit
of
at
God.
the Skinny Play. Come join our Discord. More on that later. As per usual, it's a good place to be. Also, if you want to interact with the software team for your luxury software support, like and subscribe. It helps out a lot. Comment. It also helps out a lot. YouTube likes that. And if you want a guaranteed answer to your question in their topic, leave us a super chat. It also helps keeps the light on and stops fire alarm from going off or something.
No, no, that doesn't stop.
So what
So,
happened?
oh, it was Halloween, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So I went yesterday. I went over to my girlfriend's house, watched little movies and whatever, and fixed the V1. So put it back. And then this morning, I wake up to a phone call from our building manager. She's like, "Are you home?" I'm like, "No." There's a fire department out front, and a fire alarm went off and whatnot. So as I'm now managing the building, so okay, one night that I decide not to stay home. So I walk over to the building. Fire department's there. The freaking elevators are everything's shut down. Water, nothing's fucking working. I had to walk all the way up to the 18th floor where my beloved apartment is, up the stairs to get keys, back down the stairs. This is 10 o'clock. We're talking, so it's been 4 hours of me running back and forth between not just between my floor and downstairs, but with various different people trying to reset the sprinkler pumps. Now we just don't have water in the building because they divert all the water to the sprinkler system once the alarm goes off, and the sprinkler pumps are not. The water pumps are not working right now because I can't get hold of the 24 emergency line. It goes to a voicemail. So yes, that's the start of my bloody Sunday. Didn't even have breakfast yet, man. I just like straight up into a freaking emergency.
Interesting.
So a lot of
Uh,
laps. It's a good exercise, but
Apparently,
it's
we're black screening. I think this is there's a YouTube thing going on. I'm not dropping any frames at all. Like I haven't
no,
even
I'm not.
dropped one frame on either Twitch or YouTube.
I don't.
uh,
I see the stream, no problem. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe you need to power cycle your computer.
yeah, but I'm not dropping any frames. Like,
No, I'm telling Sandy. Oh, same problem here. Lawrence has the same problem.
yeah. I mean, OBS has a counter on the bottom which tells you how many frames you dropped. And if your internet is flaky or something, it'll show you how many frames don't. I mean, when my internet was shit the other time, it showed like a few hundred, but it literally says zero.
Could be a YouTube problem.
Yeah, because I mean, I pulled it up on my iPad and it's going fine.
Potato fries is watching it 1 frame a second. Okay, I'll stop moving slowly then, so you don't miss much. But yeah, so that was my start of the bloody day. So very awesome. Uh, didn't expect that. And the only thing that I'm really like not pissed off about, but more or less annoyed with, is I when we were doing this, I specially requested like give me a tour of the building, and I don't mean show me where the janitor's room is, but shit like that when it goes down hard. How do
Mm-hmm.
you deal with that, right? Not run around the building. Okay, where's the fire room, sprinkler room, electrical room, this, that, whatever. So now I know. Now I found it all, so we're good to go. But yeah, it's uh, it's been an interesting morning so far. That's for sure. But enough of that. let's talk about the elephant in the room. No, it's not really an elephant in a room, but it is
It's
the most.
gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. The only thing that I don't like about it is if you turn it, you see that
Yeah.
these are plastic,
Oh.
so it kind of feels bad on both sides. I understand, but I don't understand in the same time. Over 3,000 holes. I did not have the time to count them, but it's a lot. It's gorgeous, man. It sounds the same, of course, but because it looks better, it does sound a little bit better. There's that extra, the the way the sound passes through these beautiful aluminium holes. It sounds great. But yeah, this is it. This is the guy that we've had it in the shop for a little bit. That got announced. Feels bad still. There is no picture in the app for it, of course, but I'm
Why
sure
would
that
it
will be
be?
coming.
Because it's only like $500 more.
Yeah, it is. It is a premium product price for sure. I like the fact that they included a braided USB-C cable instead of the cheap, the plastic regular one that you get with your commoners A5, I guess you would say. But it's a very, very nice, very nicely done. And I couldn't even fathom how tedious the process of manufacturing those grills could be.
Wait, nobody
Uh,
can hear you? What the hell?
Nobody can hear.
No, that's not true. Like all the EQs are bouncing when you talk. It's
Bouncy bounce.
yeah, it's just you, Sandeep, or it's all of YouTube. But
Yeah, I don't know what to tell y'all. I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Mr. Potato Fries says, "Can we take a look at the handle?"
Handle is aluminium. It's not wood. It's beautiful. Like the whole thing is just. It's one of those things that you can't even carry when you got rings on your hands, in my opinion, because you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna mess up the handle type of thing. But then, to each their own, I guess, when it comes to how they deal with their product or how they handle it. But I don't know if I can go closer.
God,
Look
that's
at these.
nice. Yeah.
Look at that. Like this is cat's ass, man. Let's go. See, and then it comes to the. I don't
Yeah,
understand
that's
what
not
the.
too offensive.
No, but I just don't understand what the idea is behind the plastic bubbles or dots. Like,
Maybe
could they
because
not have?
for
I think it
removing the
just.
grills.
No. This is part of a grill. I will take one off just to show you.
You break it, you buy it.
Kind of wish I broke it so I can buy it. I can't even sell it yet. So there's the back of it. I just took the grill off. Let me put this down for a second. So you can see the grill is a little taller on one side.
Mm-hmm.
You have, you know, one side, and this is the side with the bubblies. And these look like they are stuck on as a separate. So essentially, if you delete that plastic part, this is the only part that gets CNC'd. And I think that they CNC it flat and then they bend it. You can see the grill from the inside as well. Like these holes are drilled from both sides. So this is insanely tedious, man. I can
Yes.
completely understand the cost price increase on this because of the premium on the grill. Like this is definitely not something, loony store cheap. This is very, very, very nicely done. Very, very nicely done grill. And I guess it's their own cheat, I guess, code or cheat code, how they've done it, because you only have to manufacture one grill because there's no front and back, and because that overlaps, they just overlap the same on both sides of the product. So it's basically one grill that gets manufactured or machined out, and then that's how they you can see how it comes in, that it's more exposed on one side than the other. And yep, it looks absolutely balls, man. Really like this. Really like it.
Yeah,
I think it's a nicer approach than going with a like an aluminum lamella style, like they would have done, with a. I guess that would be the other approach to it. But no, this it looks very nice. It's a very very nicely done grill.
I was just about to start to sort of like the picnic basket.
But no, it looks amazing. It looks a lot nicer in the like when it's darker in the room,
Mm.
because then it just gives that texture of reflection to it. But I don't like that they didn't emphasize on those grills, like that gray part on the website. That's just the rendering, more or less, right? That it shows.
Well, they
That
say they
it's
take pictures, but I don't believe them when the color difference isn't shown.
No, that's not the picture.
Unless you're like literally. Would it be a scam if you make something look different than it actually is and selling it that way?
No, because I guess they have a disclaimer that product may change without any notice.
Sure, but that's weird, right? If the picture on the site doesn't at all match the product in real life ever.
Well, it doesn't, kind of doesn't. Like it gives you obviously like that. It's much more computer perfect on the renderings versus having it, in real life. But
Hmm.
I guess you can only load so many wood textures in the rendering, right? Where in the real life you got lamellas are all different, not colors, but different wood grain and this and that. Like it's a natural wood. It's not something that you replicate like it's a video game type of thing. But I like it. I like the new direction with the A5. I really like the product. I wonder if that grill, wouldn't that be something interesting to put on a theater also, I would say,
I hope so.
as a grill. Ah man, that grill would probably cost you $3,000. That's not more.
I wouldn't be
And it's
surprised.
not to
No.
be, I wouldn't be, it's not to like trying to be funny with the cost, but just looking at the manufacturing of it, and it's obviously double anodized at the least, because they have to anodize the thing. I don't know if they anodize it first in silver and then they drill out everything else and then they anodize the black, because once the silver's anodized, they won't accept the black anodizing. I really wonder what the how complex is the manufacturing process of that particular grill, because I'm certain it's way more demanding than having that basket weave or Nordic weave as they call it, or gluing a couple lamellas on the plastic panel.
Yeah, I actually recently just ordered the picnic basket, and I think I was just in time to cancel it and reorder it in the aluminium one.
Oh, you are getting the aluminium one, right on.
Well, if we can make it work, but apparently, if you order it from a dealer, it's December,
Yeah, they're not available at all. Like we're not
maybe
even allowed to
like maybe
sell this.
January, which is kind of weird when you can shop it now on the website.
Yeah, but that's the same thing with the Beolab 8s, my friend. They're not coming for a while, and especially if you want the gold ones, I think you're gonna be waiting till March, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. This I saw this by accident earlier or last night. Yeah, you can obviously you can buy two right at 0% discount because that's a great deal, luxury.
Of course, it's a
Uh,
luxury deal.
but add two baskets to your basket, essentially.
That tutu basket.
I
Yeah.
mean, I do like it a lot. Like it also sounds good. It's one of the lesser offensive sounding Mozart products to me.
It sounds much nicer than a Beolab 20. I gotta give
Yeah.
you that. Like, even though maybe the bass isn't as boomy as the Beolab 20 has, but I don't think that Beolab 20 has as much bass control as the A5 does, because it's using passive radiators and they naturally have a slop or flop to them more than they're not accurately driven. Where this is a sealed cabinet principle, so the bass response in this is much more accurate in my ears than it was or is on the Beolab 20. Yes, there's a different price tag to it, but in my opinion, honestly, I think uh, Beolab 20, or I guess from Beolab 12, so it had a nice run of 10 years, more or less. And I think that that product is now reaching its point of unplanned obsolescence, let's just say, because it still works. There's still everything in it is great. But I think
Just
the
Bluetooth
A5,
though. This
that's
does
exactly it.
everything.
The A5 just has an upper hand with the network link and obviously the built-in Mozart platform, and so on and so forth.
I mean, just
My
having easy access to radio, and you don't have to like permanently do it from your phone.
Yeah.
I mean, I essentially bought this because I was sort of going like, what do I want to do for outside? Do I want to go the full Henrik route and get Celestials outside? Like, I could do that, and I could hide it all in the ceiling.
I'm getting more coffee, brother.
But it's sort of like, okay, that's gonna cost how much? Two,
Right.
3, 4 grand?
Yeah, and to me, I guess it's how much do you amortize enjoying that versus having something that is portable. And at the end of the day, like the options you have, say you guys are going to see your in-laws or whatever in a different city, like this is easier to bring. You're not going to be uprooting your celestials from the garden just to bring something for the barbecue, and like it's not going to happen.
Also, this
But
is very much loud enough for outside before you start
oh,
annoying neighbors and stuff.
well, that, and also like how loud do you really need it outside when everybody's going to start screaming over top of one another because the speaker is too loud, right?
Yeah.
It's more or less for the ambiance of the music and whatnot. But you know what? When there's good times, and even the little bit of music will help tremendously. And I guess that goes to me visiting my girlfriend's mom on her birthday, and I come in and they're playing music out of a fucking laptop, bro. So naturally, I can't deal with that. And I always bring music. It's just something that all my friends know me for. That if we go anywhere, I'm gonna be the goon with the speaker. And like I pulled no, it wasn't oots oots. It was a little pop can because I brought the little Explorer out of all the things, and I just throw this in my
Oh.
backpack, whatever. You know what? It sounded better than the bloody laptop. I tell you what. It sounded to the point. It sounded good enough for the girls to start dancing. Tell you that. And for me, that was a very satisfying moment because it's just music always brings fun and brings people together. Doesn't matter what you have, as long as it's a B&O product, you're good, in my opinion. But yeah, the A5 would definitely rock the house quite more. But for having a little speaker like that, it was a fun
Yeah, but
experience.
like I have a barbecue and a seating area outside, right? Like that's
Yeah,
where
you would
it's
need.
that's where it's going at most, essentially. Like
Yes.
maybe to my grandparents-in-law, but then it'll
Yeah.
be in the back of a car or on a plane in like a carry-on,
Exactly.
and that's it. Like, but even there, it's not. I'm not gonna go like hiking with it or anything.
No, I'm a big fan of the aluminum grill. I like the silver for the outdoor products more because of the lower heat retention from being exposed to direct sunlight per se.
Mm-hmm.
Where like if you roll out the black anthracite basket out on a barbecue and you leave it in the sun for let's say 2-3 hours, at what point will it shut itself down from overheating? And I'm not saying because it's cranked so much, but like if it doesn't matter if it's a Florida sun, even here in Montreal, if you leave it out and it's plus 28, it's gonna have a negative effect on it. I'm certain.
It's just like your phone. If you leave it outside, it's gonna like
Yes.
start flashing warnings at you and like.
Yeah. So that's why I kind of I really like the Silver Girl because it definitely is gonna reflect more of that direct sunlight and heat away from itself. It's not gonna make miracles happen, of course, but I don't
No,
know. I like it. I like it a lot. I think honestly, even for the sake of keeping it clean, it's easier to wipe off the aluminum You know, if you got your,
Well, this probably will destroy every rag you try to wipe it with.
it's not sharp. Honestly, it's not sharp. It doesn't snag. I try to wipe with the microfiber. It doesn't snag anything. They are very, very defined circles. Like the edges on them are perfect, but it's not something I wouldn't do it with the microfiber cloth like the one in Costco. That's I guess a bad example because y'all don't know what Costco is in Europe, but it's a store where only big
Wholesale,
families
yeah.
should shop because it's a warehouse. Like anything you buy, it's on a pallet, and
Essentially, yeah.
yeah,
Like
it's insane.
you don't buy some olive oil there. You buy like a 4 liter thing, and then
Yeah,
two
yeah,
of them in like plastic, right?
that's right. You got olive oil for every like for years now. Yeah, it's somewhere where I can't shop because I can't even afford to buy paper towels in Costco because I have nowhere to put them. There's so many. Like you buy a roll, a box of paper towels basically takes up 2/3 of my trunk in the Audi.
Yeah. Oh,
So
I mean, we have memberships at Costco's and Sam's Club, but for that sort of stuff, we still go to Walmart
and
because,
yeah,
like, we
if
have
you go to
a
Walmart, it's
fairly
easier.
sizable house, but it's just too much, right? Like,
It is. It is. I
I
remember when we first used to go to Costco, like you fill up the pantry on one trip, man. It's ridiculous.
mean, I think we buy paper towels and we use them a lot. Like even at Walmart, we buy them maybe once a month, maybe.
You go
And
to
then if
Costco,
you
you
go
buy
to
them once a year.
Costco, you buy them once every 6 months or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's too much, and most of the stuff that if I were to buy it in Costco, I over time I've realized that I throw out more than what I would have saved if I just bought it in a like let you do Walmart or there's other stores here because it's I'm in the French side of the country now, so none of the stores are really the same over here. It's really interesting. What I wish that they did,
You
speaking
go
of
to
the A5,
Walmart.
les bon marché, tabarnak. So I wish that I really wish that the BNO would put some videos of how they made that grill. I think that that needs to be not just to to help people justify the increased premium cost of the product, but I think that the video of how that like just give it like a 2 minute, and you guys are good at that. You know you can do it, but I think there should be a 1 or 2 minute video about how the birth of the grill per se. Maybe a little bit of whoever was on design team describing it a little bit. And with the voiceover, in my opinion, there should be a voiceover of the designer.
Get some B-roll
And
shots where a dude just has some aluminium in a grinder with sparks going. Doesn't matter if it's not
that's
attached to
right.
any of it.
Play some Van Halen music because apparently all the 80s hair band videos they just were in the manufacturing of Sparks factory with hot girls. But I think they should make something that shows that aluminium process of how they had come out or come up with this grill because it's not stamped. It's all CNC machined. That whole entire grill is CNC machined, which is insane. And I think that it should be something that be proud of it. Like you guys have an unbelievable competence in aluminium processing and manufacturing. It's not even second to none. There's nobody like BNO when it comes to aluminium craftsmanship. And I think that they should be more proud of that as well. Since you have not much to be proud of in a software department, I think you should more or less be proud of your manufacturing and then, you know, inspire the guys in the software department to do something.
Yeah, let people know because for a large part, you still buy B&O for aluminium and wood.
You buy it also for the looks. It's not
Yeah.
just the sound, honestly. So I think that should be communicated a
You
little
said
bit
essentially
more.
no difference in sound, right?
No, there is no difference in sound. Which I think it's kind of weird because if you think about the theater, uh, you're tuning the theater without the acoustic impedance of the grill.
Mm-hmm.
where this tunes itself with the grill on. So it doesn't matter if it's a basket weave or the wooden slats or the aluminum dots or the spaced aluminum, if you call it correctly. I don't think. Also, the product is so small that I don't think that you'd be able to acoustically tell those minute differences.
I must say, going from the cloth cover on the stage to the Prestige Creators cover, it did sound a bit more airy. And
Because the,
I
the,
put
the
it,
high frequencies can penetrate
yeah,
easier through
there's
through
like
the
literally
wood.
nothing there anymore.
Yes.
I mean, there is like solid material, but where there isn't, there's nothing.
Yeah, I haven't really played. Maybe what I'll do is I'll take a melange gray grill from the shop and I'll put it on my theater and just kind of see what the differences are acoustically. But I honestly I couldn't really tell much as far as the difference between the grills, or the acoustic performance of the grills. But I think honestly that it should have been. I understand that you can't really do the microphone plug on the back because if you have the theater on the wall, then it kind of makes it impossible to
Mm-hmm.
to cater to. But there's enough gap in the bloody grills that they could have moved the jack to the point where you could just plug it in without constantly taking the grill out. But that didn't happen. It will not
To
happen,
me,
and it's just what it
I'm
is.
more annoyed with having to take the grill off for tuning than anything else.
Same here, and it's for me. I obviously do it with the gloves, and I do it with the little peeler,
But
and do
the
it
thing is, like,
properly.
I
But you're
understand.
always like flexing it. You're
Yeah.
always working that wood, no matter how gentle you are. Every time I take it off, there's crinkling. So you know that you're putting a little bit. I guess you could call it a micro stress on those panels or
Mm-hmm.
those wood lamellas or slats, whatever you want to call them. Uh, I like the way that they are designed wise as far as the look is, but I'm not in full agreement in how they have been attached on that grill in a theater. That's one thing that I really dislike, especially with our winters here in the drier climates. It does change the tolerances in the wood because the wood does dry out. So
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I understand with the cloth, right? But with the wood, if you look through it, you can essentially see the slider button to turn the mic off,
yes,
and the 3.5 mm jack is just to the right of that. And I don't think
yep,
you like if you flipped it and took that into account a slight bit more, you could just plug it in from the front.
yes, yes.
Like that's such a missed opportunity.
In my opinion, I completely agree with you. It's a missed opportunity for that. But you know,
I mean,
then be,
weirdly, I actually tuned the 50s with all the covers on. Like you're supposed to take the side cover off and put the microphone in, right?
mhm.
But I just routed to a point where I could just put the cover back on
Okay.
because the cable's thin enough and there's enough of a gap in the aluminium.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Even if you fed it underneath through the access hole where the
Yeah.
cables are, you can just feed it in. Yeah, you can have them covered.
I mean, I'm not sure
Uh,
it matters, but surely at some point it matters a little bit.
I think for the 50s it would matter a little bit, to be
Yeah.
honest, because that's a different animal of an accurate speaker. 50s and 90s, like 90s, obviously you tune 90s without taking anything off other than the backwood panel to access the microphone port on the master speaker or primary, I guess, politically correctly turn call it in now. But yeah, it's interesting how that works. I think that the A5 is more or less a death of a level. We don't sell any levels in our shop at all.
It's kind of unfortunate. I fully understand. I really like the level,
It's
but
a misunderstood product, in my opinion. It's a very misunderstood product. Uh, I understand the design concept of it. Maybe if let's say, what shall we call it, like a speaker link or no, it can be a network link, like network speaker. Like if they had the ability that you can pair levels and let's say like all the Mozart playful products as your, let's say, surround channels, or have the ability to do that with the Mozart.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that would be something that definitely would at this point I think it would help, let's say it would help the level or emerges or balances per se, but I think that it would be throwing really big sticks under the feet of brand new walking out of the factory Beolab 8s,
Yes.
which they are a Mozart platform speaker, but if you introduce the capability of having a Wi-Fi network surround speaker system, then would it logically make sense to buy Beolab 8s, or do you just go with a pair of balances at that point, which they give you more capability with the directivity because
But
there's more drivers and more
not
control?
necessarily, because you can't do that when you stereo pair them. You cannot put them in stereo pair in omni mode, both of them. Not even in wide, they can only be front.
Mm. But that being said, personal observation here. We were always being told that you need to pair the speakers together prior to pairing them with the WISA into the television per se, correct?
Yes.
I had tried this with the 28s. I also did it with the Beolab 8s we had here. If you have them stereo paired, only the primary speaker will allow for the WISA connection to come in. The secondary does not show up. It doesn't pair. So what's the point? I just don't see a point in stereo pairing the speakers that have a capability to be standalone when you have them operating with a television set. And in most cases, and I say most cases because I'm going to reserve that 1% to people that buy a stereo, I mean, a B&O system out of the box, never, or not out of the box, they've never had an experience with the B&O system. Karim's very good at that. People come in for a $10 cable and they walk out with a theater and a pair of 18s and don't know what the fuck just happened. It's great, but they go out with a pair of 18s, which you don't have to. They're not smart speakers. You just pair them WISA and that's the end of it. Where I've tried to play with that based on the recommendation of the B&O. Yes, you have to stereo pair them the first, and then you can join them to the theater. It will not work for me. I even on the 3.2.3.2 software, which I did not opt in for, by the way, but my theater got it pushed now. So now I have a
You don't
3.2.3.2.
care what you want. This is luxury.
Apparently, yes. The one thing that I do not understand, after I got the update, when I go from the kitchen preset to sofa, it's a 5-second delay now in order to switch to speaker presets. Never happened before.
I used to have that on the theater.
But it's only between that one. If
Huh?
I go from sofa to lounge, which means that the TV turns towards the end of the couch, right?
Yeah.
This is when I'm laying down. Instantaneous. I go back to kitchen, 5 seconds. The stand starts turning, everything's, you can see the lips flop, and then all of a sudden the sound kicks in about 5 seconds later. Do not understand why. And then
I always thought that was normal on the theater because mine always had that initially.
So then I had crackling also develop. So
Oh,
I'm listening, I was
no.
like, what the fuck is that? Pause the YouTube I was watching. I'm like, okay, maybe it's in a video. I take another video, and I'm like, okay. I had rebooted it.
Mm-hmm.
I just rebooted it, nothing else. It all went away. I don't have an explanation for that. It all went away. It doesn't take as long to go between the kitchen and sofa, but it's still not as snappy as it was before. And unfortunately, I do have the reference point, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have known, right?
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, like, you update that and this conks out. I'm not a fan. But
In that case,
yeah,
join our Discord. Because the B&O people are on there and they will read your software issues and or try and fix them.
call
Also,
this,
you
man.
can request software updates for specific things or features. You name it. Sandeep is very kind to collect it all and put it in an easy format for them to read, and they're already working on some of it, so it's quite good.
Sandeep has the gift of translating to Dinglish. But no, all jokes aside, I think that they're going the right direction with the software. I still don't like the new app. There's few things that I really don't like the fact how they've done it. It was very covert, very sleazy, in my opinion. Sleazy, I guess, is too strong of a term, but it was unfair. It was unfair to not let people know of a drastic change with the app. And now the problem that I have, the people that are used to the app the way that it was, all of a sudden, surprise, motherfucker, it's new. And it's really different for some people that are used to this. And
I noticed you didn't say improved after that.
No, you noticed correctly. So here's the thing. I went to a lady. She has 2 stages with LG 55s, G2, G3 panels, right? So shiny, brand new spanking system. We installed it a month and something ago, just before the app apocalypse, or app apocalypse, I guess you could call it. And if I join, let's say I'm playing, she's got a living room and bedroom. So if I go to living room and select Deezer,
Mm-hmm.
and then I join the bedroom, it works, no problem, right? If I go all standby, the bedroom stays linked to the living room, and it is unselectable on the app as an individual product to go back in. So you cannot go back into the bedroom stage and, let's say, instead of Deezer, I'm going to play radio. It will not let you. You have to shut the goddamn app off, like, not like swipe it closed on the phone, restart it, and then it shows both products available. And then you can go in and you can select in a bedroom, you can play radio, and then you can go to the living room and play Deezer. So you have multi-source, multi-room.
What is this going to do for you and previous customers? Because Sandeep just said apparently NLML sources are completely gone in the new beta app.
Well, it's Halloween, isn't it? Times are gonna get scary as fuck, because I don't know what they're gonna do with that. I don't think that they should have abandoned the network link completely off this. And there's non-deterministic sources. Like, I understand, but I kind of don't. And there's also a limitation that I had come across when it comes to the Beo remote. You're unable to change the order of the products. I forget. I think it was. I played with the A5 at one of the client's places. So yeah, there are a couple things that definitely need not just ironing out, but bro, y'all need a new wardrobe for that. Not just iron out the old one, because there are a lot of little quirks, and
That's pretty major.
well, I'm trying to be nice, bro, but I'm struggling to understand with the software developers or the software peoples all together in the B&O, the mothership, the hive, whatever, the brainorium, that they are coming out with these very nice ideas. How many of y'all actually live with this shit? Honestly, this is an honest question. I don't expect you as B&O, I don't expect everybody in the product software development department to have a set of 90s core and a TV or whatever else have you, but just give these people a couple things, man. give them an emerge, give them 2 emerges so they can experience the headache with the stereo pairing, which gotten better, but there's still some, you know, especially the 28s. I would definitely have somebody in that department own a set of bloody 28s to work with and live with day to day. And I definitely would recommend them to have more than one product as far as the rooms are concerned, so they can actually experience and play with the rooms. Now, I don't understand how sterile of an department these people work in when it comes to these the product interface, but I think it's not enough. There's not enough trying and playing with it. Absolutely not.
I almost wonder if they're taking most of their user data from the app, right? And all the old stuff
Probably.
barely shows up in the app. If you have like a whole house for a master link, I mean, you maybe see
Correct.
like one NL or ML converter, and you go, it's not that many people, but it's somebody's whole house that's still active.
And it's if you think like, you know, there's like, screw that guy with the 9,000 on an NML converter, right? Here's a problem that I have right now. Client, I have never in my fucking life seen that many masterlink zones, and I had been around BNO for a long time. That guy has 5 ML buses full. Full. He's over 16 rooms, which is what the max is on the net and on the master link. How do you tell this gentleman that, listen, bro, all that shit you got here is cool, but it no good no more? We're gonna have to rip out the whole house and replace the master link with the Cat 7 cables because, you know, we're gonna run network to certain things. We're not going to be able to replace our 3500 because Beosound 35 is no longer made and there's nothing else to put on the wall in such, you know, what are you going to put a stage up above the door, which is kind of nonsense. So that's that. And also, a lot of people that have NLML converters, they're not active app users. They're not.
No. But why would you
Because
be?
you don't need to. Like if you have, let's say you have an Avant and you have a 9000 with the CD player, you can listen to the Bio radio or net radio at the time, or as a correct term is called. You can use a net radio on the TV and transfer it and play it down the pipe, the master link, to all the other sources as a net radio. So for them, there's no point. People that have a Beosound 5 and have radio on it, they will never venture into the app because, first of all, app doesn't do anything for them when it comes to that product.
Install and forget at best.
Install and forget. And the only time that you would actually need the app per se, if you had NLML converters that would have replaced active kits, where they have a link eye into them, and then you enable in-app volume control, then you can have it behave more or less like a dumb core. So again, there is no need. So if they're harvesting that information from the app, then it's a very incomplete set of data, in my opinion.
Yes.
And for that reason, I don't like that.
Maybe it's because the software team is a lot newer than everybody else. I don't know, but I mean, they did hire most of them in the last few years, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, if there's an age group, let's say between 30 and 40 years old people that work in that department, I'm sure they're even the younger ones, they would have zero, if any, limited experience with Masterlink products unless they had enough interest in their own curiosity to go around the BNO and maybe play with stuff that they have in the shop or in their rooms. Because at the end of the day now, you can't really buy Masterlink unless Facebook Marketplace or, you know, used. You can't just go to the shop and request, you know, I need a passive kit and then, you know, 9,000 or something. I wanna recreate the old Masterlink system. They're gonna take your temperature.
Also, just getting a Masterlink cable.
Those are still available, but they're expensive and for what really, right? I don't know. I think that I understand the reasoning behind it because mastering has been dead now for at least a decade in their terms, right?
Yes.
But there's people that have houses that had even MCL in them back in the day. The MCL still works, and that is a 30-something-year-old system. And people that had grown up around it, people that have lived with the BeoLink 1000 remote or a Beo4, you now shove a Beo Remote 1 in their hands, it's a problem.
Yeah, it's bent.
It's not that it's just bent. The problem is that the buttons are clustered too close together. There is absolutely zero tactile navigation other than those two lines, which, if you remember that one is the list and the other one is above the number pad. So that's
If you
your
have
only
any sort of
references.
calluses on your fingers, you're not feeling those ridges anyway.
No, no. So
I mean,
again,
I quite literally use my nails sometimes to do it because I can't feel it with my thumb.
I just kind of go off of more or less muscle memory that I know. Like when I hold the remote, I know where my thumb is at the time. But I've been at this for 12 years, bro.
BO4 is still easier.
It's definitely easier, but well, it's limited to whatever it is. I like the black anthracite girls too. Sorry to change the topic up here. You're zooming in and out on cool shit. I like it. Maybe there will be an anthracite version of
I
that
hope
girl.
so. Could
I
go
think
well
they should.
with whatchamacallit, the other frame, the darker metal frame.
Oh, the black anthracite.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a.
The one that now normally comes with wood.
Mm-hmm. The smoked oak. I think is it dark oak? It's dark oak.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of the woods, can somebody please explain me? I don't know. I don't think that I'm colorblind. But what's the difference between the light oak and regular oak, other than the sticker on the box? I can't tell the difference in color, man.
The light oak is quite a bit paler normally, but not always.
I've I'm yet to see the paler version, man. But there is nothing like I've opened. We've done this with Kareem. I've opened a theater one, and we opened the 18s in both,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't tell the difference. I could not tell the difference between the light and dark oak. I mean, light and regular oak. Obviously, smoked oak is a completely different tone of color. Dark oak goes without saying. Walnut goes without saying. But the light oak and regular oak, man, you'd have to be somebody that I don't know calibrates monitors for Disney for color correction or something that you can tell. This is one tone off. But I'm a man, dude. If there's a color that is not green, then it's greenish. Okay. It doesn't. I don't have. Oh yeah, this is a clover leaf green and whatever the fuck. I don't have that vocabulary in me. To
Mm-hmm.
me, it's wood, man. It's wood, and that's also wood.
No, but the it is quite close. Yes, for sure. Uh, and I've seen it both ways. I've seen it where it almost is the same to
Hmm.
where there's a clear difference.
Yeah, I'm yet to see the clear different ones, but we've done a few of them, and I'm struggling.
But it's
I'm
kind
struggling
of,
with it.
I don't know, it's kind of weird when it's so I mean, when it's really different, it sort of looks like the oak is oiled and the light oak isn't.
Mm.
That's the sort of color for like difference between the wood looks. Like one is oiled and one isn't because you can change the color of wood completely with just clear oil, right?
Yes, I'm yet to do that on the theater, but I don't know. I'm scared. I'm gonna order a bag of spare walnut lamellas because they're now available, and I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to oil them and see if they darken up. It's definitely going to bring out the richness of the grain a lot more in the product, but I haven't done it. I've done it on the 18s. I've done it twice, and they have that nice sheen. Plus, I love how the wood smells after you oil it. Oh God, it's paradise. So, oh, we got 11 people watching now. It was 13.
But
I
there's
guess.
22 on Twitch.
Right on, everybody
Twitch.
migrate over.
Just in case you didn't know, John is back.
Oh yeah?
On Peter Tyson. I'll put that. Go subscribe to him. He's also everything's. He's also obviously on the Discord.
Nice.
I mean, sorry to everybody on YouTube, but it seems like YouTube is having worldwide issues. I mean, obviously he did one of these. Oh, I need to subscribe too. Oh, wow. Like, even my YouTube isn't loading that well.
I see that. Yeah.
That's bad. Yeah, John left Preston, what, 4 months ago? 5 months ago? Something like that.
So, replacement and troubleshooting of BeoRemote 1. Did you know that you can reboot the BeoRemote 1 without taking the batteries out of it?
It's, what is it? 2 buttons and hold it.
It's 3 buttons. Yeah. So first you hold the OK, the center. You hold it for 5 seconds. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you press the menu. You hold that for another 5 seconds. And then you press the red button and the remote reboots. But I held it like a dweeb, so it didn't.
It's like playing a flute.
Pretty much. So 1,
sure
2, 3, 4, 5. Menu 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Red button. Let go. And it rebooted.
Sweet.
So that is that's the tip for the day, y'all. Take it to the bank and cash it. That needs to be backlit so hard, man. Call this, like, why not, guys? Just backlight the bloody remote.
Can't be any worse than what the theater had with its battery life.
No. But the weird thing is that when this was going on, it was only affecting the BeoRemote ones, not the Essence remote.
Yeah.
I have not replaced batteries in my Essence remote since I had moved to this apartment. And I didn't even have to replace them, but I'm like, for shits and giggles. I don't know how long it's, because I've had them in the storage and I didn't remember how long I've had them in Calgary apartment before I changed. So I changed the batteries and I started with the clean slate. And I got my theater on, I think, December 23rd or 26th, one or the other. And I've never replaced the batteries in them, but I had gone through 2 pairs of batteries in each remote since. So John's doing what now? Vacuum reviews?
That too.
Right on. It's funny that I'm actually actively researching and looking to buy a Roborock vacuum, the automatic one with the mop. I just can't bring myself to spend $2,000 on the fucking thing.
Yeah, same.
I mean, it's a little too much.
They do the same with pools, right? Like, you can buy these robot vacuum cleaners for your pool. And it's so handy because it's all automated and blah, blah, blah. And it rides up the wall. And it's like, yeah, that's also like $2,200. I buy one with a stick and that's like $300.
See, the reason why I'm not that I'm having a hard time justifying the cost of it, because it is, $2,000 is a lot of money compared to like an $800 Dyson that you got to run around with.
Yeah.
But then being around Montreal now, going to the places we go to, a lot of people have these robotic vacuums, and if the client is home, I do ask them about it and what they think and whatever. And there was one gentleman that it's a huge house or an apartment, condo, whatever. I think it's about, give or take, 3,000 square feet, if not more, because it's two penthouses joined together. And he's got the one, I forget what type it is, but it's got the rotating mop pads on the back of it. And he said that it cut down on their mate to come in by 2/3 of her time, because 2/3 of her time she was spent mopping the floors and sweeping all the floors. Well, now let the machine take care of it. So at the end of the day, if you think about it, like that thing will amortize it and bring itself to cost zero in maybe a year's worth of time, when it comes to you expensing that money towards a human being that comes and cleans, or you have a robot that just does it all over the place and you just have to catch up on a couple corners, right? That it can't get to.
Hello.
So I'm quite
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're okay with 90s and it bumping into that, but with 50s.
well, but the new ones with the lidar and all that, because I was looking into that, because I don't want this thing to be running into my floor stand on the TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the new ones, you can make exclusion zones on the maps that it will never go there and so on. So you can make it so, like it will never go around the 90s or never go around the 50s. So there are ways to do it. And from, spending, I would say now, copious amount of time on YouTube trying to watch the review videos and whatever. Like it's gotten to the point where I turn on the YouTube and most of the algorithm is now fucking vacuums. So yes, it does, cost what it costs, but the new ones are to the point where the obstacle avoidance is very important, especially like if you have, I'm not saying your cat's shit all over the house, but if you have a dog, because that's another thing that's a problem with these vacuums, that if your dog leaves a Hershey kiss on your floor,
perfect smear.
oh dude, that thing is gonna smear it like a peanut butter jam, man. It's not good. Where the new ones, they have enough obstacle avoidance in them that they will pass the Duke test.
Like, nope, nope, nope.
Nope. For me, that's not a big deal because I got nothing here. Like I don't even have, like, I'm not a messy person. I don't have like charger cables and shit hanging down. Like everything has its place in this apartment. So for me, the only thing that I would kind of worry about is not having it fucking run into my floor stand, and the Beosound Moment floor stand, which is my cigar stand at this point. That's all it's good for. And the rest, fuck, have at her. I don't have carpets in here. I just have, let it run around and do its thing. So I will. I don't know. I'm still debating it. I don't think I'm gonna go like tits up and buy fucking $2,000 vacuum with the, because it's also a lot of room that it takes up now, right? Because I like it's the one with the, the dump bin, right? And it's got like three of them. It's got the clean water, the brown or dark water, gray water, whatever color, the dirty water, and then it's got the vacuum, right? The actual hard bits that sucks up. I never liked those speakers. Change the topic. It's kind of weird, and they're heavier than shit too.
Yeah, but these are the small ones.
I know. We've talked about these with the big boys too. It's too
the
much.
large ones are larger than John is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're insanely expensive. I don't know. Maybe I would still go with. That's a weird looking driver. I would still go with the 90s if I were to spend, $200,000-$300,000 on a Focal system. I understand, maybe it won't sound as good from the 90s as this, but then how much of that is psychoacoustics? Like, how much do you start believing the fact that it sounds so great because you blew $300,000 on it, right? And then I had seen those feel bad moments in few people's faces when they came over my place in Calgary and they turned on the 90s and just fucking blew their socks off. And yeah, it's a feels bad. But, to each their own. If you like your stacked components and all that, good for you. All the power to you. I will not revert from the digital anymore. I'm good. I'm happy with what I got. So
I don't know. I generally like vocal. The looks are a bit.
mm.
I mean, the sound.
But then again, if you're a true audiophile, you listen to the music with your eyes closed, right?
Isn't that the whole point, kind of? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't be looking at the speakers, you should be listening to them.
Yeah.
But the problem is, to me anyway, is that you don't do that enough of the time in the day anyway.
No. Not at all. I know it's gonna be funny or I'm gonna get laughed at, but I am really thinking about going to my storage locker and digging up a pair of lap fours that I have somewhere in a box. A reason why I'm kind of thinking of moving the 18s from the back to the sides as the front speakers, more or less for the winter, because soon enough there's going to be a half a meter of snow on the balcony and it's going to be off limits.
God,
Where,
Canada's such an awful place.
bro, I'm glad to be, excuse me, I'm very glad to be in Montreal at this point of time, because last week Calgary got 10 inches of snow. It was an utter disaster, of course. You know, the annual tire meeting on the side of the road,
Yeah.
or summer tire meeting. But it's yeah, no, I like it here. It's gonna snow tomorrow, but who cares? It's not that bad. I do agree with Stefan. The speakers should look good. Yes, the speakers should look good, but then again, you know, it's I guess it's a beauty of a redheaded stepchild. You know, not everybody finds that girl pretty. But
I personally don't dislike the vocal look. I kind of like it. What I absolutely hate is the amp stack in the middle.
yeah, but you can, you know, some would deal with that in a, you know, you put it in the rack and so on, but then, you know, like your speaker wire is too long and how much does that affect on the impedance and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Your cat's leaving too much hair on the carpet. That's too much static now. And like all these, you know, nonsensical things that people worry about when they, like, do you actually listen to music or do you want to just listen to your speakers play that music? That's the biggest difference in in my opinion when it comes to these high end system. Hold on a second, somebody is blowing up my phone. One second.
Fire alarm! Get out! Get
Yeah, I
out!
know.
Get out!
So yeah.
But everybody subscribe to Mr. John. He'll do more reviews of just about everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll eventually do some stuff for B&O because Peter Tyson sells absolutely everything, including B&O.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I obviously come across these stacked systems as well here because that's just unavoidable. There are, but we have very few and far in between people that, you know, have bought like Powers and Wilkins with the Burmester amp and so on and so forth. And I guess it also depends on who you talk to in the store. Because if you come in there with the idea of doing the Bowers and Wilkins and you spend all this money and stuff, and you happen to talk to Kareem, then you're gonna leave with a set of 50s and you're gonna be much happier than just spending money on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like, don't get me wrong. For me, it's still B&O, obviously. Otherwise, I would have bought Focal. But it's I don't know. I if I had to choose between not B&O and some like Bowers and Wilkins and Focal, I'd rather have the Focals than the Bowers and Wilkins ones.
Hmm.
But if it's choice freedom, B&O all the way. It's like it's not hard.
And Guy Cardi, you got a very good point. Most hi-fi nutters won't buy 50s or 90s just because it's B&O. And I
Yeah.
really agree with that because whoa, it's all digital and blah. Piss off, bro. All the music you listen to now is digital, tabaknak. Everything that's made, everything that's been remastered. If you look at the label, what does it say? Digitally remastered.
No, man, I stream analog.
How do you do that? So
With my
that's
Tidal analog hi-fi. It cost me like $25,000 a month.
like to me, it's just oh. Yeah. I think it's also time for the core to be updated. I really think that they should start looking into putting the Mozart platform in a core. I don't know, call it Mark II or something. Make it sexier. If you're gonna redesign the core, please make it sexier, man. Put some aluminium on it. Charge me $2,000, whatever. But just make it look nicer than this ominous black box that has 3 boards in it, really. So that's something that I would honestly I would like them to address because that updates automatically your Beosound shape. It updates everything else more or less that you have speakers connected in. So it should be something that it should be on top priority list for them, or at least consider to make an audio master of some sorts that has a better screen that the Beosound Moment had, which was just a silly tablet, and have something that is embedded with all your streaming services that you support currently, being Deezer, Spotify. Fuck Spotify because they are closed off. But Tidal should be there as a supported. Also, I think that they should support Apple Music a bit better, or somehow have it
Yeah, but I
able to
don't
tie
think
in.
Apple allows that.
But that's again, yeah, that they'll go up against that nonsense. But yeah, that's some things that I think they should look into, and backlighting the bloody remote.
I think they've forgone the whole audio master with everything Mozart, essentially.
Yeah, which I understand the logic behind it because everything, like you can set your stuff to my buttons, and quite honestly, I live off of my buttons. Really, like I have them set up. The first thing that I get through the door, I have the B remote one on the wall. I press my button too, that turns on the YouTube. And by the time I take my coat off and all that, the TV's on, the screen is on, and then I can just browse, or I press the other one and it goes to the either the ABC Lounge or I get a Deezer Flow. So I live more or less by that. I rarely ever use the phone as an audio master to drive my music. It would probably happen way more often if I was in uh, my old apartment with the 90s, because then it actually makes sense to listen to music actively instead of just having the theater play and having its thing. I still like the imaging on the theater. It sounds great. It definitely sounds great. It's no 90s, of course, but for this apartment, like you can't really go that nuts. So, but
Yeah, they're too big.
they're too big to put in here. But that being said, also I listen to music. Like if I listen to Deezer Flow, if I don't like the track, I skip it till the theater crashes. It hasn't happened since the
Uh,
3.2.2. So far so good as far as the app is concerned, or the inner workings. It doesn't crash anymore. So far, but I haven't really been home much to listen to the Deezer Flow. We've had a pretty seriously busy few weeks
Lots
in
of
here.
theater still?
We sell a theater at least once a week.
Well, that's nice.
We're the best in North America like we have the most numbers as Quebec Song.
Wow,
We've
it also
sold.
helps that you're like one of two in the entire country, right? Or maybe three.
Yeah, but then okay, so how do you explain, like Miami is not a poor place. It's not. The people have fucking money in Miami, in Florida.
Maybe it's the marketing.
I think that
Maybe it's
everything
partially like people like Kareem, right? Like once you get that
he,
going, you get return customers.
yeah, but you know what? Kareem is a very special guy. Like I've never come across a more talented salesperson in my life. Like that guy will sell ice to the Eskimos with 5-year warranty, bro. That's it. Like that's my statement. He's very, very good at what he does. He's not a technical person, but he knows enough to explain and have people understand it. And also he's not scared of telling people what they need. Because a lot of motherfuckers come in, they don't know what they want. They need somebody to just tell them. And also
Yes.
there's people that need to be told that yes, you can buy that. You're allowed in a way. You know what I mean? And that's a big thing. Like a lot of people that I had come across in sales, not just for B&O, but working at the Audi as well. A lot of people have a very big psychological deficiency that I would call stop thinking with your wallet. It's not your money to spend. And you can't limit yourself to what you would have bought for the money you're making. When there's people that come to the store and they make in one day what I make in a month or two in revenue.
It
So
happens. Yeah.
that's the fact of life. And if you don't have that block internally that oh, but I think that's too much. No, fuck it. This is how much it costs. You want it or not. You know what I mean? Like if you're buying a Rolex, they're not gonna. Oh, can I have aluminum handles instead of the gold ones because it's gonna be cheaper? No, bro. You're buying a fucking Rolex. That's how much it costs. This is the prestige that it gives you and the feeling that it gives you when you buy this watch. It's not gonna be the most accurate fucking watch you ever own. G-Shock is more accurate. Any quartz movement's gonna be more accurate than your Rolex. But if you roll up somewhere with a G-Shock on your hand in a gala, you're gonna look like a freaking goon. Where if you have a Rolex, it's a different story, or Patek Philippe, whatever. Like we can go up to scale and whatnot. So that's the thing, and a lot of people they just a it's I think that there's a price barrier, right? There's like, oh my god, it's a lot of money. But if you look at how much you amortize the use of that product over the next decade per se, because people that bought the theater now, they're going to have it for 10 years,
Oh,
guaranteed.
sure.
Guaranteed. And if this cradle to cradle nonsense is actually true, and they gonna come up with, I don't know. I really don't think that HDMI standard is gonna change drastically anymore, as far as the connector plugs are concerned,
No.
because we could figure it out all the way to 8K with the same connector. So that stays, and also the RJ45 connection stays. There is no way that's gonna change in any near foreseeable future. So
It's the problem is that too many things use it, right? Like
everything does.
as soon as you jump, or you're the first person to a company to jump to a new connector style that's better or whatever, like you're gonna be screwed because you're essentially taking the first adopter cost all on your own.
That's right. Well, if it wasn't for European Union, iPhone, whatever, 12, 13, 17, whatever the number is now, that they all look the same, do same shit, and don't really, the titanium edition, let's call it. If it wasn't for the European Union, we'd still have a freaking lightning rod on it, or lightning pod, or whatever they
Yeah.
call it, connector nonsense. Where now they were basically forced by European Union, but the Apple, they spin it the way that, oh, we've invented it now. No, stupid. You just had to fall in to the rut because everybody else is in that rut, and you just need to file in.
Well, the stupidest thing with Apple essentially is that their iPad Pros already had USB-C for.
So is their MacBooks.
Yeah. By the way, have you started pre-ordering or pre-selling Beolab 8 yet that you know of?
Yeah, we got a couple that already have. I don't know if they have deposited the money. I don't see into that, but from what I spoke with Kareem, there is people already interested in them quite a bit. So the only limitation is going to be what color they want, because if we have all the colors, as long as you like the silver, because there's going to be no gold or anthracite for a while. But I like how they're built. The color scheme can be very easily interchanged, which is good.
I don't understand if they're built fairly simply that it takes so long. Like,
I
I just don't get it.
I don't have a logical explanation to it, because the amount of aluminium processing on that, I don't think is that tragic, because essentially it's just a a sphere or a column that is tapered on the bottom. It's basically and cut from both sides, so that's the shell, and then the top with the lens on it, or the glass plate, and that's about it. Everything else is the plastic inside. So I don't know. I don't see into it. I hope that well, what we had was a pre-production model, so I hope that they figure out the wishbone and the attachment a little more solid. Because if you have, little kids around with their little curious hands,
Yeah, what's this?
they might drop it off the stand, bro. It's not even funny. It's not like it used to be with the threes, when you set them in and there's a little mini set screw that you tighten into the post, and then everything's good. It's not like that. So that's one thing they need to do.
Sandeep says again, shifting to lower production runs. They said so much on investor calls. Get used to waiting times. I understand that once your product is already launched.
Yes.
But come on,
in my opinion, if they are launching a product, they should have at least 2 pairs of each color available per dealer out of the box, like out of the intro. Like, this is it. We got 2 silvers, 2 anthracite, and 2 gold. Fucking rock, paper, scissors, who wants what and how. Because if you have 2 pairs, then you can have somebody come in there and go full nuts and say, okay, I'm buying a theater with 2 pairs of Beolab 8s for fronts and rears. And you can at least sell that system. And yes, you can, somebody else will have to wait. But I think that it doesn't really matter what I think, honestly. It happens all the time.
Is a Beolab 8 special enough to wait weeks, if not months, for? Or will you just start looking at something else?
I don't think it's that special, quite honestly. It's a great sounding speaker. Don't get me wrong. From what I've heard, it sounds really good. It sounds really good. It sounds very close, if not better than 17s, which is kind of weird because it's a much smaller size. But then again, of course, the acoustic competences and technology obviously has always gone forward. We're not going backwards. And 17s have been around since 2012. So yes, there is a logical step forward in the acoustic performance versus the size of the speaker. But I think that where B&O's going wrong with it is exactly to the old saying, cook before the pan gets cold.
Yes.
And right now the pan is hot and they got nothing on it to cook. And that's the problem. And it's not a problem. It's almost inheritive to every single bloody product release that we had ever seen. At least with the Beolab 8, they already have the Mozart platform figured out to the point where it is stable enough to introduce the product as 100% working. Some exceptions may apply. And
are we taking bets on that?
No, I'll bet you it's not going to work properly. So that's at least they have that. It's not like when they were releasing the Halo, which was not even half baked. Okay.
Yes.
So that's that. Any other product that really came out, it was okay. Like with the Mozart platform, obviously there was a lot of labor pains when it came down to it, and especially with the the stereo pairing functionality, which I understand. Like it's much easier to do that with the Bluetooth with 2 products than having now a product that is on the network create its own sub network that the other product connects to, and then they communicate in that level and fashion until the software update comes out, and then it's just ruins everything because it only updates the primary, not the secondary. There should also be, and I've touched on that
Apparently, that's mostly
previous
fixed
podcast.
for a lot of people now. People were saying in the comments last week.
Okay.
Which, good.
I'm happy for you, but from my personal experience so far that I had tried this with, not happening. Also, for some reason, our Beolab 28s won't take another, just don't software update when they're in WISA mode. And they're on the network. They show when you go to software update, they're still on 2.5.
Are they on the network wirelessly or through wire?
Wirelessly.
Hmm.
Because they're basically, the one set of 28s we have is reader channels for the harmony. So they're just on a WISA connection. And then the other set is this front, left, and right for the theater.
It might be that they won't take it if the harmony is on. Because then they go into like Beolab mode and tend to, I think, shut off the network connection.
Yeah, but the weird thing is that I had tried them while the harmony is off. Like Mondays are closed as far as the shop is concerned. So if I go in there, and I always try, and it's still on 2.5.4, whatever the last version was before they went to 3.2.1. So, and also like the even the A5 is on the older variant of the software. So that's another thing that also doesn't make sense to me, that okay, we have 3 theaters in our showroom and they all have different generations of software on them, even though they're all set to automatically update. The one that has got the most recent, latest, greatest, and the bestest software is the one that we've had from the beginning, the oldest theater.
So weird.
I think they're doing it by serial number batches. They're just gonna, okay, let's just take this chunk from this number to that number, push it out, and see what happens. And I think that's you call it trial by fire, I guess.
It's not a luxury.
It's not a great approach. It's not a great approach to it, but that's just the way it is at this point of time. So yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting how they are doing it. Oh, we have water now?
You have water?
Well,
wait, you didn't have water all that time?
No, because when the fire alarm goes off, the solenoid shuts off the water into the building and diverts everything into the sprinkler system. Because there's not enough pressure, I guess, in Montreal to push sprinkler water all the way to 18th floor. So,
is there like a Danish opera? Like
Danish
you
opera.
Get a bug and you get a bug.
Oh God, yeah, the software lottery. I don't like it, but it's better than it was before. Obviously, there are still some weirdness issues going on with the theater. I have a client that plugged in an Apple TV into an HDMI A on the theater, and there is no CEC control. But he's running a Samsung panel. I don't think that should matter. It's connected to the theater, therefore CEC should work.
I think CEC's pass through though.
What do you mean pass through? But if you hooked up to the theater, it should connect with the Beo Remote 1. It should be able to control the theater. The source is connected to the theater, unless we have to put a puck in there and IR.
Sure, but if you connected an Apple TV to your LG panel, your Beo Remote 1 still works through CEC.
Yeah, it'll control it, but he's got a Samsung screen, so there is no network cable between the panel and the theater.
No, I understand that, but it could be Samsung settings where like CEC's off or it doesn't see anything or something like that, right?
But then wouldn't it not power on the TV or power off the TV if the CEC is off?
Maybe. I don't know how Samsung does it. But this is the annoyance of interchangeability with so many products. Like
Yes.
this is why they should have stayed essentially, in my opinion, with LG. But
I don't know why they even started
I mean,
with opening
the
that
fix
can of
is
worms.
probably a puck cable. Yes.
Of course it is. That's the
Yeah.
only way. But I understand that B&O wants to be like, we're gonna be a multi-platform, accepting the on a theater type of thing. We're different brands. I think that they've made a mistake in that sense. I think it should have been, no, we're gonna go with the LG. And to be honest, I have not installed a theater retrofitting it to an older panel. We always sell an LG panel with it. And if it's a Samsung or a Sony, then people usually migrate that TV into a different spot in the house, different room, guest room, something, get rid of it. And then we just put in the theater proper. So
Yeah, but
I
if you
think
have
that,
it like a Harmony that you bought 2 years ago and you're sort of about it, but you still have a C1 or a CX panel, is it really worth it to just go like, no? Or you might as well keep it because, like, on trading, the panel is essentially worthless now.
yes. No, but the point I'm trying to make is, as far as the B&O's marketing was, I think they should not have opened the can of worms with it. They should have kept the stage as being a whatever TV you want to plug into it, good for you. But I think that with the theater, that should have been more prescribed. It should have been called a BeoVision theater, in my opinion, not just a BeoSound theater soundbar nonsense. Because, like I said, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Whoever else is watching around the world, but I we don't sell those without an LG panel, and we've done it a couple times where we integrated or try to integrate into a Sony TV, and there was a couple with the Samsungs. The guy with the Sony TV ended up buying a G3 panel, and well, Stefan also has a Sony TV, but he's not a movie buff, so for him it's a secondary priority. But we've done a few people that they had issues with the TVs turning on and off, and so on and so forth. And for some reason, the TV turns on in the middle of the night when the Apple TV is connected to it, because the CEC just goes nuts. I don't understand the whole poltergeist in that sense within the product. But a lot of our TVs, a lot of our theaters that had gone out, they were always with a LG panel, and they work no problem. So
One thing I wish to mention is on the Biogram tab on the forum, Dave made a little file with, is it 7 or 9 samples of a record, and they're all recorded with different record players, different needles, etc.,
mhm,
etc. But nothing is marked. And one of them, I think, is a high-res FLAC file.
okay,
And so the idea is, it's not a competition, but it's sort of like it's a blind taste test. So
hmm,
I would just like to give him some more data by pointing it out, because he has a link here, and then you can go to the Mastodon site, and that's where you can download it if one of his servers. So it's a jazz trio. It's the same song every time. It's one's uncompressed, the rest are iTunes high bitrate, etc. And it's a different variation of turntable brands. There's some biograms in there too,
hmm.
but it's just and it's
That's
not like
interesting.
guess what is what. It's like, what do you prefer, and that kind of thing. Like, because I
Okay,
listened to it earlier and I think I know what I like, but now I'm because he'll come back with results in a few days and let people know what's what.
hmm.
And I'm kind of
Curious.
curious, like, am I like this is like the mental game, right? Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
listening, but am I trying to pick the Beogram because I'm biased, or am I still listening what is best, or
Mm-hmm.
because I heard for sure a few tracks where I thought, like, this is a record player. I hear the pops and bangs, which I didn't
Mm-hmm.
hear in other ones. But also, there's less separation in some, and or like it's more collapsed on each other, and it's sort of like, what do I actually like? Because I think sample A, it sounds like quite in your face, and it sounds good, but it's sort of like, but there's hardly any separation in the channels, which there is in the other samples. So
Mm-hmm.
does it sound good because it's louder, or does it sound good because it's good?
Or more dynamic.
Yeah. So
No,
that's
that's a
sort of.
good test. That's a very good test. That's a good idea.
So thank you, Dave, for setting that up. It's really fun. I'm gonna re-listen to it again before I give my final.
Word.
Yeah, because if you're into like this sort of thing, or if you're even slightly interested in record players, it's kind of. I mean, who knows? Maybe your choice could be like the uncompressed iTunes file, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you know for sure you hate record players.
That's very fair. That's a very good idea, actually. Very good idea.
So yeah, it's all good fun, and you can find it under the Beogram tab, and just scroll up a little bit. So I asked him, because initially he was going to take it off today somewhere, but I asked him to leave it on for a bit longer. Just want to see where a few more people go. So downloaded, it's like 190 megabytes or something. It's not super large, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not nothing, right?
Well, if you get in FLAC files and stuff, it's going to have a little bit of a heft as far as the data consumption is
Yeah.
concerned. So,
But I also don't think it's the whole song. I've never heard of this before. It's a jazz trio.
the great jazz trio at the Village
Yeah.
Vanguard.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Well, it's good that he picked something that is not beaten to the ground, you know?
Yeah, so it's
Bird on a wire or some nonsense that like B&O just like, oh man, there's a couple of songs that like I understand the demo point of it, right? Because to a person that comes to the store, it's the first time they hear it more or less, or sometimes. But like when you hang out in the shop and they play the same track, like in the first 30 seconds of it for like, you know, it's been a year since I've been there and it's always the same. And I appreciate the fact because it does sound good and, you know, it communicates what it has to communicate. But when I hear it, it's just like, oh, this man, I just can't deal no more. Like I walk away from this. When I heard, what's that? Something fire on the water or some other nonsense. It's just, oh my god. But like I understand. You play that on the emerges, it just shows the emerge in its true shine, how they sound. Obviously, limitations to the bass. You're not gonna be listening to bloody dubstep on the emerges, even though you can. I do that in the bathroom. It sounds great. It sounds better than M3, bro. M3 is so bass heavy now. M3 sounds like Pentas to me. It sounds very muddy.
I still love my M3s, especially for the price. I keep
Oh
forgetting
man.
that I have some, and then like yesterday I was talking to somebody and it's like talking B&O and stuff, and it's like, damn, I actually didn't think, where am I going to put this, this, and this? It's like, oh, I actually forgot I have a Beogram. Where am I going to put that? Oh yeah, shit, I have a Beocenter 2 too.
Oh god.
Like, where the hell am I going to install that black box that comes with it?
How long is your cable?
10 meters.
Oh, fucking awesome, dude. You can put it in a basement.
It's partially why I bought it.
Oh, you don't have a basement.
No.
But you can hide the socket unit. 10 meters is good. That's a good distance. That's what I have with mine as well.
Because I looked at the cable prices, and the 10-meter cable I found there were like 3 in stock at this one store that had them still, because everywhere else they were sold out, and they wanted €220 for a 10-meter cable. It's like,
Yeah, it sounds about right.
I bought the whole thing for 300, including floor stand and whatnot.
Yeah, the cables, those cables are so special. I remember, I would never, thank Christ, I never had to deal with the splice box on that. But there is a huge splice box for this if you want to extend it to go longer. But I thankfully never had to do it because I think it's 32 pins,
Mm-hmm.
30 or 32 pin connector.
Well, they're stranded together. I mean, the cable is quite thick. It's like the size of my pinky.
Wow, it's a little thinner, but like 32 conductors in it, that's a lot, man, to terminate.
Yeah, but
And
it's like Ethernet things because
mhm.
they're twisted per pair, if I'm remembering correctly.
I've never opened one of those wires, so I don't know. I honestly, this is one thing that I've never ventured into.
Well,
We
mine came
always had them.
pre-opened because it went through a wall somewhere.
Oh, okay, so somebody had to splice in. Yeah, no, this one was no, we never did that. But
Just to combat Brian's nerves, do you think a theater sounds tinny compared to a harmony, or is that setup issues?
that's a setup issue. I think that's your stage width preset more or less than anything in the advanced settings on the Biosonic. If you play with the stage width, I have my stage width at 7. If you go anywhere lower, like 5 or 4, then it starts to become very mid-rangey. It really brings out the center channel speaker.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to 10, then it just kind of goes to pentas. It just washes it down completely.
Because
So
apparently in the showroom, the harmony sounded a lot more powerful than the theater.
it also depends where it's placed, honestly. Like in our shop, where the harmony sat, like when we did the Beolab AIDS demo, and Dave Zapfel came in with the presentation and all that, and I'm just listening, like, son of a bitch, that thing sounds really good for how small the drivers, the bass drivers, the little speaker box on the bottom. Like that sounds actually great, but it's nowhere near to what the theater does, capability wise, in my opinion. Acoustically, I've never lived with the harmony. That's the two products that I've never owned is the stage and the harmony. But being around harmony in the shop, nowhere near enough as far as acoustics are concerned, because that TV always just it's on, and when the demo comes, it's the 50s
I
that
mean,
are
when you
playing.
turn the harmony up, you can for sure hear that the bass drivers are tiny. Well,
Yes,
tiny. They're 4 inches, right? But like it sounds a different bass. It does. It sort of thumps instead of rumbles.
yeah, the depth doesn't keep up with it. No,
I mean, it's not bad. That's not what I'm saying at all. But like comparatively, when you put your hand in front of a theater at like 55, 60% volume, you actually feel the wafting of air.
yeah, you can feel the air moving. But then again, if you think about it, I don't think that harmony was intended as a standalone product.
No.
To me, harmony is like an advanced BioVision 9 if you come to like the older terms, where yes, you can use it alone, but it really should have more speakers connected to it.
Yes.
BioVision, I guess, would be a bad example, more or less, because it's only a center channel. But in a way, you're not gonna sit in front of a harmony and listen to music actively.
No.
Like that's not something that I imagine people doing. So where the theater, it's more or less it's all in one box, right? Like
Well,
that's
it's like
how
having 28 sit right there.
pretty much.
Like the power differential's undeniable, and if it is, then it's a setup issue. Like it's
Yeah.
probably set to like speech, or it's set to something weird, like something.
Yeah. I would turn off the speech enhancement. That's number one. And stage width. You got to play with the stage width. The envelopment, that's more or less how much surround and how much it pushes to the back and how much the sound hugs you in a way. But the stage width is a huge game changer or influencer when it comes to how good is the vocal clarity coming through the theater, which I appreciate the fact that you can modify all that stuff, because those settings are in fact in the harmony as well under advanced settings in the speaker group, where you can go and adjust these things. But what I don't understand is why there's such a big need to play with that with the theater. It should be more simple.
Well, there is not
Especially with
if you
the
have external speakers.
well, but if you calibrate it with the microphone, should it not, you know, correct itself in a way?
Sure, but it kind of does if you have big speaker or even normal speakers attached to it. It's less of like that whole stage width. I've never felt the need to touch it much other
No.
than to listen because I've always had speakers attached to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in Brian's case, they'll be the same. There will be speakers attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have used the theater on its own, but more for a listening comparison, not
Mm-hmm.
really because like, ooh, I need quieter because this theater is still fucking loud on its own.
No, I've listened to the theater on its own before I got my panel because I had to wait a few days for the panel or a week. So when I had it on the table stand, because I couldn't wait, I just put it together. Fuck it. I listened to it, but I didn't sit in front of it per se, right? I just cranked the shit out of it and just, move around the house, do my things. And it just like, you look back and it's like, damn, like this thing pulls some shit, man. Like serious volume and bass. And then I moved it here, and a lot of the bass is kind of, gone by the wayside in a way because of the glass, right? There's not really, glass doesn't reflect bass. We all know that. So it just flows out through the windows. It's definitely not a slouch, but I found it acoustically performing better when it was against my wall instead of now where it is against the window. Because essentially the theater is in a freestanding mode if you were to put it in speaker presets, right?
Mm.
So that's the difference. But even in our store, just the one on the floor stand doesn't sound as good as the one that is a little bit further down where the acoustics in that room particularly change, and that thing is against the wall or it's on the wall. It's the solo theater that we have. There's nothing connected to it but the theater, and that thing just freaking throws down like nobody's business. So placement makes a big difference, even though it shouldn't, based on the tuning. But with the microphone, I let it do its thing. I honestly harvest the microphone's measurements more or less to compensate the room's anomalies to the sound imaging. And then I go in and I still reset everything with the dB levels my way. And I put Depeche Mode, Ultra, the Love These, which is one of my go-to songs as far as the reference for the bass and mid-range and treble and so on. And then I play with it till it sounds like I remember it sounding on basically 90s or as close as it can, right? Because that was the most perfect sound. And I strive to do that with every system that I go when I tune it. And some people don't like it because it has to be loud. I'm like, well, listen, man, it's gonna be loud only once. Whatever you do after I leave, it's your own business. But I need to make sure that it's tuned properly because there's gonna be times in a day where you will juice the shit out of the theater, be it your birthday party, be it your wife's birthday party, be it some sort of an event that you're gonna have music in the house, and that thing needs to perform at those levels just as good as it does at the low levels. Hence, I need to tune it for that. Yes, you're gonna meet the fucking neighbors. So what? Expand your social circles.
Give him some pie or something.
But yeah,
That'll
I
be
always
something.
go through it.
I'm gonna freak my neighbors out most likely with the tuning of the 50s.
Just have the windows closed. You'll be fine.
My current windows don't hold back that much. That's why I ordered new windows.
Well,
But the window company has been making weird mistakes, and most likely the new windows won't be here until December, January.
oh, it's a good time to install them right through the winter. But I guess it's not a winter like we have an understanding of.
It's
So
so cold here in the winter. It's like 20°C.
yeah, no, not here. Here it's gonna fall apart. I'm certain of it. So, yep. I still think that they should have called it a BeoVision theater, and if not, then at least please, once that thing is paired to an LG panel and becomes a BeoVision theater, as one would call it, can we have that in the app to make it so it looks the same as what you have as a system? Even with the grills, floor stand colors, you can't modify things.
Is anybody in Chicago looking for a bunch of stuff to sell? To buy, sorry, because somebody is moving. And this is also on the Discord. A 9000 on floor and table stands, 3 Beosound 2500s. There's 4000s, the rose gold 85-inch Avant, rose gold 19, rose gold lap 5s. There's a bunch of shit for 5 essences.
That's a hard sell, bro.
It doesn't all have to be in one go. That's not.
No, I know, but like essences, man. Tabarnak, who's gonna buy those? Somebody, I guess, might have used.
Well, if they come with the Essence remote,
I would buy it for the Essence remote. Toss the fucking thing in the garbage.
Yeah,
because the remote is cat's ass. That's for sure.
Yeah, also, if you want to help us out and help yourself out, come to Discord and, like I said, vote for the things you want to see in the app, like the pictures, because that's in there, and the higher something is voted, the more B&O knows it should be a priority. I would think adding a picture here or there is quite easy.
You got all the rendering bank of all the photos already. Like, it took a while for me to bitch, and they finally realized that it should be done on the most expensive speaker. So they had updated the app so you can customize your 90s to the way that they look. I don't think there is much for them to prevent them from doing the same thing where you have, let's say, 4 steps for the Beosound theater. You pick the color of the theater, you pick the color of the grill, you pick your floor stand program, and then you pick the overall size of the bloody thing. And that's those 4 modifiers that should be there. Look, out of the box.
If we're going to go into the supreme high-end luxury thing, this sort of shit matters. It's the details that matter.
To me, that's a detail. Like, if I spend
it's not
now $13,000, no, it's not. It's more eye please and eye candy. And if you are making me use the app as the only way to control this bloody thing as far as the source control or content control, other than your video side of it, but everything pertaining to the sound has got to be done from the app before you set up your my buttons, and then it all works, right? Everything has to be done within the app. So I'm fucking looking at it from the app perspective. I'm looking at that as like, well, why? And there's been few instances where the client chose a color combination that doesn't exist on the theater. If you buy a black anthracite and you put oak panels on it or oak lamellas, there's nothing in the app that can show that. You either get a dark oak or gray melange.
It's the same for if you buy anything custom, right? Like you pay 30 to 50% more, and yeah, fuck it, whatever. Not even you get the picture, right?
Yeah, no, that should be. I think that would be a little tougher to do, because then they would have to customize that based on the serial number produced, right? So once it's registered to the app, or added, yeah, but they should have. It should be a thing that everything that you have in your possession or ownership should reflect identically on your app. Period.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my statement. It should, guys, you got to pick up on it, man. For real. This is not good.
Also, what was it? I think it was this one, right? Like somebody asked, and I think a lot of people chimed in, that you should be able to set the default volume per source, which you currently can't in the theater.
I agree.
So if you switch from TV to Deezer to whatever line in, that difference could be quite drastic.
Yes.
And I think they said they were working on it. Yes, C. Larson, who's actually with B&O. So B&O is actually in our Discord.
Okay, good.
He said, I can say that we're actively working on making it possible for you guys to adjust the default volume level per source. So that's a good thing.
I wonder what the complexity of that, the complexity that brings for them, because I can understand that it would be fairly easy to do HDMI ABC,
Mm-hmm.
but how do you assign that volume source from the screen interface?
Startup, essentially. I mean, treat every new app opening like a startup.
Mm.
That's what I would think. Whichever app it is, like you have the default of that.
Fair. Yeah, I know what you're saying. But yeah, we'll see if it comes. I honestly, personally, don't have the issue with it, but I know people that do have problems, especially when you go from the uh, ISP provider cable box to a Blu-ray or an Apple TV. There is in
And then
some
back to
cases, a
Netflix
dramatic.
or something.
In some cases, there is a dramatic difference in volume. So yeah,
It
no,
can also be
I
vice
agree.
versa. Like you can use the line in for a biogram, right? And
Mm,
then you're at nice listening volume 50. And then you turn
yeah,
on the TV and it's like,
yeah, and it blows your head off. So yeah, no, I agree. There should be that. There's few things that it's less and less. I think as far as what's missing or wrong with the theater as the time progresses. Unfortunately, it's been a year in the field that they had the opportunity to harvest the information from, uh, I guess, the involuntary beta testers, which is all of us. Uh, but there's few things that they still need to address.
yeah.
We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. I'm remaining optimistic. I love this thing. Honestly, I don't see myself
I don't see
with
myself going
out.
back either. I'm just annoyed that
No,
there's still some little niggles after like a year and
yeah,
the price increase and, right?
yeah, no, that's fair point. But I don't see myself like to sell the theater and buy a 65-inch Harmony. I think that would be moonwalking it back very much. Yes, the sexy of the movement and so on, but I don't think that. Not that I don't think. I know I wouldn't trade off the amount of tech that is inside this versus what the Harmony can bring to the table.
I wouldn't want to faff around anymore with the whole Atmos and not getting the bitrate you desire.
Yes. So, and it's funny because now, like, I didn't really give a shit about the Atmos, but now, since my girlfriend's around, we watch a lot more movies, and it does make a difference. Like
It's not even whether it's like all height or not. It's just that
mm,
if you can accept it, the bitrate is 2x for most streaming services.
hmm
Like, even if they put something 5.1 in an Atmos container, so still there's no height or whatever, right? Like, the bitrate is literally 2x. And the difference is quite drastic if you compare them. And I used to do that
hmm
through the Apple TV with like God, what was it called? Like this HDMI thing where it would tell the Apple TV it was Atmos capable, and the TV would get the full signal and just sort of disregard the Atmos metadata, and then you'd look at the
hmm
actual download, and the normal Netflix or something was like 450 megabit down or something like that, or it wasn't very much, right? Like streaming isn't very much compared to a disc, but with the Atmos, it was like 900 something.
double.
Yeah,
Mm.
it was.
Yeah, and then it shows in the picture quality and sound quality, of course. So, yep. The cats are tripping balls, bro. The cats are tripping, and I think the tenants are tripping. So I'm gonna have to go deal with the water pump pressures in our building right now.
Yeah, I
So
gotta go too. Thank you everybody for watching. Sorry about YouTube being weird. I'll go as Canadian say sorry.
sorry, eh?
Sorry.
Yeah, I
Maple
don't
bacon,
know. We
eh?
didn't do it.
Sorry.
We didn't do it. We just showed up as every weekend, and for some reason, this is, I think, the third time in 5 years that the YouTube had issues that we've had before,
Yeah, something
like
like
this.
that.
Yeah, I think it's not bad. Out of 273 episodes, the 3 that are boned, we're pretty
Yeah, for
good.
once it wasn't me. Like everything was correct. I didn't drop any frames, so maybe it'll be better on playback. Who
And it
knows?
wasn't the Canadian internet either, so y'all can
Yeah,
suck
your
it.
internet was actually really solid for once.
Yes. It's probably because the building's all messed up and everybody left, so there is nobody. I get my bandwidth.
Yeah, like, subscribe, leave a super thanks. We'll see you all in the next one next week, and I should have some working speakers at that point.
Right on.
Yay! Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Take care.